Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson, ICASOC President, Undersecretary General for Economic and Social Affairs, dear friend Guido Bertucci, Director of the Division, committee members, ladies and gentlemen. It's really a great honor to be present in the 60th anniversary commemoration of the UN Program of Public Administration and Development. Mr. Shah Sukhan, the Undersecretary General, said that this is a program as old as himself. I must confess that I've been a direct witness and in direct relation with this program for 43 years. So I think that it's important as a witness to convey the congratulations not only of a Mexican public administrator, but as a Latin American public administrator for these many years in which we have been guided and benefited from all the efforts of this program. As we all know, the program was established by the General Assembly resolution in 1948, and this was the first broad legislative authority for technical assistance in public administration as a specific field in the UN activities. At that time, at the beginning of the 50s, the public administration's activities of the program included training, expert advisory services, fellowships, seminars, and publications. And since that time, not only Mexico, but most of Latin American countries benefited from this program. As most of you might know, one of the earliest expert missions of the program was sent to Bolivia at the request of the government in 1949. And in the early years of the 50s, most of the experts served in Latin American countries. I must recognize that in 1950 and 1951, over 90% of the experts' work of the program was devoted to the Latin American region. At that time also, in the 50th decade, in the 60s, one of the major activities of the UN program in public administration was the establishment of public administration centers, mostly for training purpose at national, at regional level. Probably some of you might remember that one of the first regional institutions was the help given from 1951 to 1956 to the government of Brazil in the establishment and management of the Brazilian School of Public Administration in Rio de Janeiro, in which many Latin Americans benefited from the fellowships that were awarded at that time, and also the Advanced School of Public Administration in Central America, at that time called ESAPAC, in San Jose, Costa Rica, which provided lots of training for Central Americans at that time. Later on, the establishment of training centers and institutions in Argentina, Colombia, El Salvador, Peru, and Venezuela soon followed. And in 1972, Mexico, Peru, and Venezuela, with the backing of the UN program, established the Latin American Center of Administration for Development, CLAD, which I was honored to be one of its founders. That is why I'm very much and deeply emotional to be here, because I've seen how this program has benefited the public administration programs of most of our Latin American countries. When we started creating public administration commissions in the 50s and in the 60s in Latin America, everybody read Standards and Techniques of Public Administration with special reference to technical assistance for underdeveloped countries, which was an invaluable tool for experts, academicians, and practitioners all over the world. And most of all, the publication, A Handbook of Public Administration in 1961, Current Concepts and Practice with special reference to developing countries, which was so thorough and comprehensive that it was considered a classic guide for senior government officials and experts interested in improving public administration systems. When Mexico and Peru and Venezuela at the beginning of the 60s started the global public administration reform programs, this was one of the guides that we used, and also at the establishment of CLAD. Further on, we attended as a region all the seminars and all the groups and the meetings that were organized by the UN. I myself had the privilege of attending 5 of the group of experts of administration meetings, which were held every 2 years, either in Geneva or here at the UN headquarters. And also, as Madam Molecati has said, witness as an observer the changing of the group of experts meetings to the committee of experts meeting. And finally, just to mention that we have been following all the promotions and all the guidance that this extraordinary group of experts that are part of the new committee have been giving for all the public administrators in the world. Mexico, under the guidance of Mr. Bertucci, was one of the organizers of the latest Global Forum on Independent Government meetings that was held in my country. So I can say in a very personal way that Latin American countries, and Mexico specifically, and the Mexican Public Administration Institute, which was created in 1955, have benefited all along from in these 60 years of the work of the staff, of the directors, of the division, and of all the people that have been working here at the UN, providing guidance, providing expertise, and most of all, the good will of the people that created the UN in 1945. I would just like to end wishing my friend Guido Bertucci the best of all in his new endeavors, and to thank him personally for having been for 16 years the UN guide and expert advisor for many, many of our Latin American countries, for many, many people in our region that have benefited from the UN program of public administration. Thank you very much for.
In closing, Mr. Bertucci,